You don't have to be a Star Wars fan to admit Sebulba deserved to die. It's always best to release your bad news on a Friday, so that hopefully it gets lost throughout the weekend and that there's something new to talk about on Monday. That's why I'm always posting delayed input on Fridays. On Friday, May 2nd, Rockstar shocked the world when it announced that Grand Theft Auto 6 would not be coming 2025. Instead, it's now coming May 26th, 2026. Then, after all the gamer tears had finally dried up, Rockstar released on Tuesday, May 6th, Grand Theft Auto 6 Trailer 2. Here is my review. I feel like most of the time you spend watching this trailer the first time, it's just looking at things. You're looking at this thing. You're looking at this thing. I definitely had to watch it twice, and it was on that second go-through that I was confused by one thing primarily. The last line.
Hey, if you got friends, can you hook me up, please?
That's the last thing anyone says. Hey, if you got friends, could you hook me up, please? What's the purpose of that? The last line of a trailer should basically set up the entire theme. Think back to the GTA 6 reveal trailer. That ended on a strong note. That was trust, trust. And then the shot of our couple together, logo reveal. And now we just got some guy who is horny for any friend that you got. It's not like a plot hook. It's not a particularly funny line that you laugh at. And that character is clearly just a side character. He's this guy.
Ring the bell! Shots, baby!
And I guess it was just meant to be light. Just end on a light note. GTA 6. Not too serious. But I had to be sure this was weird, so I went back and watched the release date trailer for GTA 5. Here's the last line from that one.
Was a group hugs out of the question?
Not a funny line, not an important character, but breezy. A light note to end on. As I watched more and more old GTA trailers, it became clear to me that's just the formula.
I knew you two would get along.
They're not like you or me. I know you can't tell, but I'm thrilled to meet you.
Life is just one long mystery.
You end with a light-hearted line before smash cutting to one shot of action and then the logo reveal right after that. And you might think I'm overthinking it at this point. But let me ask you this. Do you like that part? You like when that guy says life is just one long mystery? Pooh? So clearly it's just something that has always worked for them. If you really are spending some time watching them all back to back to back to back, you quickly realize that GTA trailers have not changed much.
Good Lord. What are you doing? Nothing.
So let's talk about how trailer 2 is actually different. And first I would say is its use of music. Because basically, since the old Vice City commercials back in the day, almost every single GTA trailer has one licensed track from the beginning to the very end. This new trailer holds its main track, Hot Together by the Pointer Sisters, in its back pocket until just the right moment. Bucking the trends of previous GTA games, this one begins with a bunch of different songs used, but you're diegetically hearing them over a bunch of radios. By the way, that's the most unrealistic thing that happens in this entire trailer. Two women just stop dead in their tracks on their beach walk to admire how much weight this guy's lifting? Yeah, right, only in Hollywood. It's definitely never gone that way for me. Anyway, in the context of this being a Grand Theft Auto trailer, the first minute is actually kind of freshly disorienting. It's a nice new way to start. Secondly, what makes this GTA 6 trailer stand out is that it's a love story. And I know that sounds crazy considering it's teeming with gratuitous butt shots, but I mean it. We already knew the two main characters were in a romantic relationship from the reveal trailer. That wasn't a surprise, but I feel like the main through line of trailer 1 is mostly to set a tone, which is look at the weird and wild world of Florida. And then to me, the through line of trailer 2 is that we're looking at two video game characters who love each other, and not just because they dance together and share dockside beers and touch each other's naked waists, but look at this. This is a 2-controller household. And yeah, wise guy, we see that they're both on while he's watching TV alone, and that is truly unstable behavior. I'm asking you to please ignore that part. But to me, that's just such a sweet little sign that we're being presented with a couple who absolutely will be Grand Theft Autoing. But when they go home at night, they might be playing some Overcooked. Typically in a GTA game, love is a liability. There's no time to waste in a relationship built upon mutual respect. At most, we're just gonna want to beat up our wife's yoga instructors. I'm the man! But what I'm saying is, the reason I'm impressed is that this apparent relationship is not just rare in Grand Theft Auto games, but pretty much video games altogether. It's like Haven, but instead of, two skinny floating people, you have two beachwear models. Now, it's just 2 weeks ago we talked about the relationship between how much a trailer shows you cutscenes versus how much it shows you gameplay. The yapping to slapping ratio. And looking at this trailer, it's hard to look at a single shot and say, yeah, that is what it will look like to play that game. Though digging into it, the YouTube description says this trailer was captured entirely in-game from a PlayStation 5, comprised of equal parts gameplay and cutscenes. Equal? They're saying they did the perfect 50-50. But I realize with this trailer, it's a slightly different dynamic. Because usually in-game engine implies, hey, when you play this video game, the graphics may be just as good as what you see here when you're playing it. And with this story-oriented trailer, it's not just showing off what the cutscenes will look like, it's like a window display into the game's assets. Hey, look at this truck. It's not just a cutscene truck, that's a truck of this world. Look at these boats. You can take them. Look at this cash register. Yeah, that's what our cash registers look like. I'm saying what's weird about a GTA trailer is that you're looking at elements you will be interacting with for 10 years. For a long time from now, long after you've forgotten what even happened in the story. And it seems like that might just be a Rockstar thing, where they would never sully a trailer edit with menus or an in-game perspective. And I think, yeah, that normally would be a knock against their stubborn, uppity marketing traditions. However, in both the cases of Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 5, they did put out these overviews, and they're nice. You get to see gameplay. You got a narrator nonchalantly praising each of the game's features.
In and out of camp, the world is alive and responds to the player.
There's also been a huge focus on mechanics in the game to make every aspect as fun and fluid as it is broad.
And I think it's safe to presume that something like that will show up between now and May 26th, 2026. So it's not like that responsibility is absolutely on the shoulders of these trailers. It would just be nice to see one shot of the character moving from an analog stick. They almost tease you with it. When you're playing the game, this will clearly be the moment you start controlling the character, and they cut immediately as the handoff is about to happen. And I do have a rating in mind. I think I have a final score, but I don't think it would be right. I don't feel like the analysis would be complete without taking a look at one of GTA 6's contemporaries. Because Mafia: The Old Country put out the second hottest trailer of the week, aka the Kevin Richardson Award. And the loose connection here, Mafia is developed by Hangar 13, published by 2K, who is owned by Take-Two Interactive, who also owns Rockstar, who of course publishes and develops GTA 6. It could be intentional that they both put out their release date trailers in the same week, but I do think it's a coincidence, mostly because I believe Rockstar probably doesn't care about Mafia. Anyway, previous trailers for The Old Country had me believing I'm looking at an ultra big budget game. Before this week, I'd say it's a likely candidate for one of those trendy new $80 price tags. But with the announcement of Old Country's August 8th release date also came some fun italicized quotes in their press release. Hangar 13 president Nick Baines says it's a focused linear experience. 2K president David Ismailer says we think there's a large audience for compelling stories that don't require massive time commitments. Then, just after that, pooh! MSRP $49.99 US. I have to be honest with you, it's wrong to say this, but that alone makes Mafia: The Old Country far more appealing. You should have led with that. Even in the trailer, just a little thing that says this game is $50, by the way. Trailer itself is nice as a gameplay reveal. By my calculations, less than 35% yapping, which is better than average. I think this part looks fun, and you can tell these sections are going to be rough. But as a relative trailer freako, there was a really interesting source in the corresponding PlayStation blog post, in which game director Alan Cox explains what they were trying to communicate in each part of the trailer. Like, this shot is incredibly dorky, right? But when you understand that they're trying to convey an every bullet matters philosophy, kind of makes more sense. And it's also why they showcase the main character badly missing his target sometimes. Yeah, it's just kind of neat to get behind the process of basically everything they were trying to show in that trailer. Still, it's a C. This little edit is crazy. And if the carefully crafted gameplay reveal trailer of Mafia: The Old Country is a C, what does that make the more by the books and carefree GTA 6 trailer 2? You guessed it. B-. Romance wins. And that's delayed input. I'll be back next week. Until then, thanks for watching. It's time again for your regular weekly installment of Switch 2 Launch Watch. This week was the week Nintendo would send out invites for if you wanted to buy the Switch 2 directly from them. What I thought was kind of interesting about their process of invitations to buy a Switch 2 is that they were slightly merit-based. They said invitation emails will be prioritized on a first-come, first-served basis to registrants who have purchased a Nintendo Switch Online membership with a minimum of 12 months of paid membership and a minimum of 50 total gameplay hours as of April 2nd, 2025. 50 hours is nothing to me. Probably did that in Final Sword alone. Sorry, but you have to die. No! Gene King! However, as of the time of recording at this moment, I have yet to receive my invitation. And to be clear, I don't need one. I got that Walmart pre-order locked in. And even Nintendo down here is saying, look, I'll be honest with you. If you want this on launch day, you should go with one of our retail partners. Don't trust us to get this to you on time. So it wouldn't hurt that much. You don't feel left out. But if you did want that GameCube controller, you do need that invitation. And I guess just deep in my soul, I just want an invitation from Nintendo as a thing I have. It's like, yeah, I can't make it to your big birthday bash in Honolulu, but at least let me say no. And lastly, really quickly, I want to acknowledge something I brought up last week when I was making fun of the way Randy Pitchford started off the State of Play saying, "Heyo."
Heyo, I'm Randy Pitchford.
Commenters let me know that was a reference to a Borderlands character named Steve, who says, "Heyo." So Borderlands fans got it. They were on the same page. Maybe some of them even laughed. Everyone else is wondering why anyone would possibly start a State of Play that way. Wild moves. And then I also made fun of how they advertised as a feature that this game would have a more grounded tone.
We're throwing back to our more grounded tone,
where there was simply no evidence of that. Commenters are writing in, they're making it clear. If you knew how much of a donkey circus Borderlands 3 is, you would look at Borderlands 4 as more subdued. So again, Borderlands fans got it. They understood what Randy was trying to communicate. To everyone else who skipped Borderlands 3, it's like having to go to your cousin's church one weekend and everybody's like tossing snakes around, spinning in circles and screaming. And when you finally walk out of there, your cousin turns to you and says, "Wow, pretty low-key sermon this week." Borderlands fans, I believe you, but also I have no idea what you're talking about.